Have you ever wondered about the man who found Greenland, a land of ice and snow, and named it so deceptively? This man was Erik the Red, a Viking explorer whose life is shrouded in mystery, intrigue, and a dash of irony. Born around the year 958 AD, Erik Thorvaldsson, better known as Erik the Red, was an enigma. His nickname, derived from the fiery red color of his hair and beard, was just the first layer of the mystery that surrounded this Viking explorer. Erik was born in Norway, but his family moved to Western Iceland when he was just a child, a relocation that would set the stage for a life of exploration and adventure. Erik the Red was not just an explorer, but a man of contradictions. His most famous contradiction lies in the naming of Greenland. Picture this, a land covered in ice and snow, a harsh and inhospitable environment, yet Erik decided to call it Greenland. Some say it was a marketing ploy, a way to entice settlers with the promise of fertile lands. Others suggest it reflected his sense of humor, a tongue-in-cheek way to describe a land that was anything but green. Regardless of the reason, the irony in the name Greenland is a testament to the enigmatic character of Erik the Red. The saga of Erik the Red is a tale of exploration, of pushing boundaries, and of survival in the face of adversity. His story is not just about the discovery of new lands, but also about the human spirit, the will to explore, and the desire to make one's mark on the world. So who was Erik the Red? What drove him to venture into the unknown? What were the circumstances that led him to discover and name Greenland? And what legacy did he leave behind? These are the questions that we will attempt to answer as we unravel the saga of this Viking explorer. Join us as we delve into the life of this Viking explorer, Erik the Red. Erik the Red, born as Erik Thorvaldsson, was not always a renowned explorer. His story begins in the rugged landscapes of Norway, where he was born around the year 950. Erik was the son of Thorvald Asvaldsson, a man of note in his community. But even in these early days, Erik's life was far from ordinary. When Erik was still a young boy, his family was forced to abandon their homeland. Political unrest in Norway was reaching a boiling point. The tension culminated in a violent dispute after which Erik's father, Thorvald, was exiled. Seeking a fresh start, Thorvald packed up his family and set sail for the distant shores of Iceland. The Thorvaldssons settled in Hornstranda, a harsh and remote corner of northwestern Iceland. Life here was a constant struggle against the elements. The family had to adapt quickly to their new environment, learning how to farm the unforgiving land and fish the icy waters. Erik's childhood was marked by the stark contrast between the harsh Icelandic wilderness and the warmth of his family's hearth. His father's tales of exploration and adventure undoubtedly sparked Erik's own wanderlust. But life was not all stories and dreams. The family's exile status meant they had to work harder than most to establish themselves in their new home. Thorvald, a man of iron will, instilled in his son a fierce determination and a knack for survival. Erik grew into a strong and resourceful man, yet he was also known for his fiery temper, a trait that would later earn him his famous moniker, Erik the Red. In these formative years, Erik was shaped by the adversity he faced. His experiences in Hornstrandir, both the challenges and the triumphs, prepared him for the extraordinary adventures that lay ahead. Erik's early life was fraught with difficulties, a pattern that would continue into his adult life. But as we'll see, it was these very challenges that forged Erik into the legendary figure we know today. Erik the Red, the man who would defy banishment, discover Greenland, and leave an indelible mark on the annals of exploration. Erik the Red was not a stranger to conflict, and his aggressive nature led to his banishment from Iceland. The saga of Erik the Red is filled with tales of battles, disputes, and heated conflicts. Among these, a pivotal event stands out, the feud with Eyjolf the Foul. This feud was not just a mere disagreement, it was a violent clash that would forever change Erik's life. In the rugged landscape of Iceland, Erik found himself in a bitter dispute with his neighbor Eyjolf the Foul. Tensions escalated and, as was common in those days, turned into a bloody feud. The reasons for the feud have been lost in the mists of time, but the consequences were far-reaching. Erik, a man of fiery temperament, was not one to back down from a fight. He confronted Eyjolf, and in the ensuing conflict, Eyjolf was slain. The death of Eyjolf did not go unnoticed by the Icelandic authorities. Erik was charged with manslaughter, a serious crime that carried severe penalties. The laws of the land were clear. Erik the Red, despite his standing, was not above the law. The court of Iceland, known as the Althing, convened. The Althing was a democratic assembly where disputes were settled and laws were made. Erik was tried and found guilty. The punishment for manslaughter was exile. Erik was banished from Iceland, declared an outlaw, and forced to leave his home and possessions. He was cast out into the unknown, left to fend for himself in a harsh and unforgiving world. But Erik the Red was not a man to be easily defeated. He was a Viking, a warrior, and an explorer. His banishment was not an end, but a new beginning. It forced him out of his comfort zone and pushed him towards a new frontier. Being outlawed, Erik found himself in need of a new home, setting the stage for one of the greatest discoveries of the Viking Age. Exiled from his home, Erik the Red set sail into the unknown, eventually discovering an icy landmass. With the winds of fate at his back, Erik found himself journeying westward from Iceland into the uncharted waters of the North Atlantic. The voyage was fraught with peril. Furious storms battered his ship and freezing temperatures gnawed at his crew, yet Erik was undeterred. His fiery spirit, as red as his hair, fueled his determination. It was this relentless pursuit of the unknown that led him to an icy discovery. Greenland. Greenland, a sprawling, icy expanse, was a sight to behold, a land of stark beauty. It was a world dominated by towering icebergs and vast tundras. Despite its harsh and inhospitable nature, Erik was captivated. Here, he saw not just an icy wilderness, but a land of opportunity. A place where he, an outcast, could forge a new destiny. Erik spent the next 3 years exploring this new world. He traversed its icy plains, navigated its treacherous fjords, and scaled its soaring peaks. From the southern tip to the northernmost reaches, he charted the land, becoming the first European to do so. But Erik's ambitions didn't end with discovery. He envisioned a new settlement, a place where his fellow Icelanders could start anew, away from the confines of their homeland. To entice them, he named this land Greenland, painting a picture of a verdant paradise, a clever marketing ploy that belied the icy reality. Yet the challenge was tremendous. He had to convince his people to leave the familiarity of Iceland and venture into the unknown, to trade the comfort of their homes for the uncertainty of a new land. This would be no easy task, but Erik was not one to shy away from a challenge. Erik's discovery of Greenland was a monumental achievement, but his greatest challenge lay in convincing others to follow him. Erik the Red, the exiled explorer, had discovered a new world. But would he succeed in making it a home for his people? That, dear listeners, is a story for another time. Erik the Red faced the daunting task of selling the idea of Greenland as a new home to his fellow Icelanders. Having discovered Greenland, Erik had to convince others to follow him to this new land. He knew that the success of his venture depended on his ability to persuade his fellow Icelanders to relocate. He used vivid descriptions, painting Greenland as a land of opportunity, plentiful with pastures and resources, a place where they could start anew. His words were so compelling they managed to overshadow the reality of the harsh, icy wilderness that was Greenland. After a 3-year banishment from Iceland, Erik returned, bringing with him tales of Greenland. His marketing strategy was as simple as it was brilliant. He named the icy land Greenland, as he believed that the name would make the place sound more appealing. And it worked. Despite the harsh conditions, Erik's enticing tales attracted a considerable number of people. It's said that he led a fleet of 25 ships carrying around 500 men and women towards the promising land. Upon their arrival, the settlers established 2 main areas, known as the Eastern and Western settlements. The Eastern settlement, which was the larger of the two, housed about 4,000 people and was located near what is now known as Qaqortoq. The Western settlement, smaller and further north, was home to around 1,000 inhabitants. These settlers adapted to the harsh conditions, farming sheep, goats and cattle, and hunting local wildlife to survive. The colonies thrived for several centuries, a testament to Erik's leadership and the resilience of the settlers. They built churches, farms and homes, creating a life in a place where survival itself was a challenge. Despite the harsh conditions, they managed to create a thriving society with trade connections extending as far as Europe and North America. Erik the Red had accomplished what seemed impossible. He had established a new Viking colony in the harsh wilderness of Greenland. The story of Erik the Red is not just about exploration, but also about survival, perseverance, and legacy. Erik's saga is a testament to human fortitude, a tale of braving the unknown and carving out a place in the harsh, icy wilderness of Greenland. But what's more, it's a story of legacy. A legacy that extended far beyond Erik himself, shaping the course of exploration for centuries to come. Erik's discovery and successful colonization of Greenland changed the way Vikings and indeed the world viewed the far reaches of the North Atlantic. It challenged the boundaries of the known world, pushing them further than anyone had dared before. This spirit of exploration, this thirst for discovery, was a trait Erik passed down to his children, most notably his son, Leif Erikson. Leif Erikson, following in his father's footsteps, would himself become a renowned explorer. Credited with being the first known European to set foot on North American soil half a millennium before Christopher Columbus, the spirit of exploration that drove Erik was alive and well in his son, an echo of his father's indomitable will. But Erik's legacy extends beyond his offspring and his immediate discoveries. His journey to Greenland opened up a new route across the North Atlantic, a route that would be used by countless sailors and explorers in the centuries that followed. His story inspired generations to push the boundaries of the known world, to venture into the unknown, and to leave their own mark on history. Erik the Red's life was a saga of exploration and discovery, a saga that began with a banished man seeking a new home, and ended with a legacy that continues to inspire and captivate us today. His story is a testament to the indomitable spirit of the Vikings, a reminder of the bravery, determination, and resilience that defines human exploration. Erik the Red's life was a saga of exploration and discovery that still resonates today, reminding us of the indomitable spirit of the Vikings. Erik the Red's death marked the end of an era, but his legacy lived on in the lives of his children and the history of the Vikings. The exact date of Erik's death remains shrouded in mystery, much like many aspects of his life. Some scholars suggest that he may have died around the year 1003, shortly after the establishment of the Greenland settlements. Erik's death signaled the beginning of a slow decline for the Greenland colonies. The harsh climate and isolation from the rest of the Viking world made it difficult for the settlements to thrive. Over time, the Greenland Vikings became more and more isolated, their connection to their ancestral homelands fading into distant memory. The last written record of the Greenland Vikings dates back to the early 15th century, but by then the once thriving settlements had already begun their slow descent into oblivion. Yet, even as the Greenland settlements declined, Erik's legacy lived on through his children. His son, Leif Erikson, is perhaps the most famous of his offspring. Leif carried on his father's spirit of exploration and discovery, venturing even further west to what is now known as North America half a millennium before Christopher Columbus. The sagas tell us that Leif established a short-lived colony in Vinland, a land of wild grapes and towering trees, marking the Vikings' furthest reach westward. Erik's daughter, Freydis, was no less remarkable. She was a woman of great courage and determination who, according to the sagas, fought off an attack on her settlement in Vinland, wielding a sword while pregnant, embodying the Viking spirit of resilience and bravery. Erik the Red's story is a testament to the courage and tenacity of the Viking Age, a time of exploration, discovery, and adventure. His life and legacy continue to captivate us, reminding us of a time when the world was a vast, uncharted expanse waiting to be explored. Erik the Red is not just a figure of history, he is a symbol of an era that changed the course of human history. Erik the Red's life was a saga of exploration, discovery, and survival against all odds. This man, born as Erik Thorvaldsson in the late 10th century, would become a symbol of the Viking spirit, embodying the courage and determination that drove these Norse seafarers to explore uncharted territories. His early life was marked by hardship and controversy, culminating in banishment from his native Iceland. But Erik was not a man to be deterred. Instead of accepting his fate, he set his sights on the unknown, venturing west to the icy shores of what he would later name Greenland. This was a feat of exploration and navigation that was unprecedented in its time. The discovery of Greenland wasn't just a personal triumph for Erik, it marked the beginning of a new chapter in Viking history. He was not content with merely discovering this new land, he also led the colonization of Greenland, establishing settlements that would endure for centuries. This was no small achievement considering the harsh and unforgiving environment of this new territory, but Erik's legacy extends beyond his discoveries and settlements. His adventurous spirit would inspire future generations of Vikings, including his own son, Leif Erikson, who would go on to discover North America 5 centuries before Christopher Columbus. Erik the Red's life was not without controversy or conflict, but it was undeniably packed with adventure and achievement. His story encapsulates the essence of the Viking Age, a time of exploration, expansion, and the relentless pursuit of new frontiers. His name, Erik the Red, has become synonymous with exploration and discovery. His saga continues to inspire us, reminding us of the indomitable spirit of the Vikings. Their courage, determination, and adventurous spirit continue to resonate with us, even in the modern world. The story of Erik the Red serves as a reminder of the indomitable spirit of the Vikings, a spirit of exploration and adventure that still resonates today.